Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, tonight I have some good Ethereum metrics I want to show you guys. These are ones you need to pay attention to because despite the fact that we're stuck in this rut and things aren't looking so good, these metrics say otherwise. So, does that mean Ethereum is here to stay? Can it possibly flip Bitcoin someday? Well, let's discuss. Is it over-exaggerated or is there something to it? And there's a few other things I want to talk about. So thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, CryptosRUs.com. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. You know what? I'm looking at the comments. I'm enjoying the comments, but not from everyone because there are a lot of people that seems to have given up. And you know what? This is not time to be giving up. Yes, things do not look that fantastic. In fact, Bitcoin just touched upon 31,000 again not too long ago and bounced right off of there. But I know it's a struggle right now. It seems like there's no buying at all, and things are just going lower and lower and lower and lower. And I just saw a comment from my morning's video, and this longtime follower is like, George, I really like what you're doing, keeping the positivity, and I've watched it for years. But why can't we just admit that we're in a downtrend? I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I've answered this question before, but I thought I should answer it again. If we declare that we're in a downtrend, we declare that things have come down. What does that help? How does that help anything? It doesn't. It doesn't help anything at all. So the only thing that you need to pay attention to is, what's really going on, right? And then also, based on that information, you need to decide what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it, right? Are you going to get out of the game? Are you going to panic sell? Maybe take and convert some of your unrealized losses into realized losses? I mean, that's an option. Or do you continue holding, which is another option? Or do you try to get cash on side so that you could buy these dips? I mean, that's really what you need to focus on, right? Admitting or declaring whether or not we're in a downtrend, whether or not we're in a bear market, whether or not we're just being manipulated. Making these declarations does not do anyone good. It doesn't do anything good. You have to decide what to do with your current situation, right? Do you give up? Do you wave the right flag and say, okay, everything is done. It's time to get out? You could, and everyone's different. But if you got in for the same reasons I got in, which is to attain life-changing wealth, to break, the chains, to get financial freedom and invest in your future, well, then you need to keep staying in the game, right? But that's ultimately that. I like to look at a bigger picture. That's the thing. So many people want you to declare, like, George, go ahead and declare it's a bear market. Okay, if I say that, how's that going to help things? Does that automatically makes things better or worse? Does it give you any idea of what to do afterwards? No, right? So there's a lot of people that want you to declare certain things, and no one really knows if those things are true. But what you need to decide is what you're going to do about it. What's your next move, right? And if you're really done with the market, well then, you got to make that decision, right? Are you going to continue holding and maybe just not look at things for a while? Or are you just going to give up and panic sell, right? It's up to you. It's up to you. Early plays, appreciate that. I missed your super chat earlier this morning. I did see it, but I wrote to you after I ended the stream. Hopefully you saw that. Jay Bleeker says, nothing is over until we decide it is. I think you got history wrong, Jay. I think you got history wrong. OMJ, you're my favorite crypto YouTuber. I really appreciate your work. I'm the one that super chat 1 month ago about baby Dogecoin. No, I'm not gonna look at that, but I appreciate though. I do appreciate that. Okay, so with that said, just want to get that out of the way, right? Because I just feel like people like want you to say something, even though it may not be true, just to like give them peace of mind, I guess, but it doesn't give anyone peace of mind. Like, how does it give anyone peace of mind, right? The thing is, you just have to figure out what your next move is. That's really it. So, like I promised, some Ethereum metrics, okay? See, look at Darcy. I was poking fun at Darcy the other day, because she's just so negative, and she's still being negative, right? Darcy, if you're this negative, get out of this space, okay? Trying to troll, trying to spread FUD in this channel does no one good, not even yourself, okay? So I'm gonna help you. But yeah, see, there's gonna be haters everywhere. A lot of miserable people that are really trying to put blame on others, and you guys probably didn't see that because it was auto hidden anyways. But this is not the time for that. If anything, this is a time to stay positive, encourage each other, get people through it, right? If you have different opinions than mine, sure, go ahead and share it, but don't be nasty about it and don't be trollish about it, because that does no one good. So going back to these metrics, I was planning on sharing with you guys. I got off track a little bit, so I'm gonna move my camera here. So number one, and this is from Sentiment. Sentiment shared all these. Number one is, you could see the sharp decline of ETH on exchanges. I think this is pretty significant. You could see that the drop is very, very significant over the past few weeks, right? Despite, you could see the green, that's Ethereum's price going up to the moon, and now it's past 4,000. Despite Ethereum coming down 50%, over 50%, guess what? The ETH reserves on exchanges did not go up. You don't see people like depositing ETH, like panic depositing to sell. No, in fact, it's in a decline, which is very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed, right? So this does show you there are people that are accumulating, that are buying, right? And this goes along with what I showed you guys with Bitcoin this morning. It did show that a lot of reserves. A lot of reserves was basically exiting, right? So it's the same thing with ETH. You see a lot of ETH coming out of the exchanges, and ultimately, how do you have any coin go up in value, right? It's basically having demand outstrip the supply, and when the supply is going down, right? Even the demand is not skyrocketing right now, but over time, when demand picks up and the supply is still decreasing, well, that's when you get that, the price increase, right? So number one is this. I think this is still significant to pay attention to. Number two, well, that's number one. Nope. All right, so I gotta scroll. Oops. Where's that? Here we go. Number two is this, the daily active addresses. Okay, so again, ETH active addresses, even though it was high when Ethereum was at 4,000, you could see that it's still looking pretty good so far, right? Despite the fact that Ethereum fell down more than half, the addresses did not fall by half. The addresses didn't die out. In fact, the addresses is pretty much stable, right? So again, this is another interesting metric to show you that the number of people that are on the network is continuing to stay on the network, continuing to use the network, and there's still a lot of projects and DeFi and NFTs and stuff that's ongoing. So this is also very positive. Zaya says, what's wrong with the downtrend? What goes up goes down. On bull trend, it goes down too. Grow up, kids. Well, I kind of agree with that. Super Google says, should I DCA into Super Shiba? No, you should DCA into Super Baby Doge Shiba Inu. that's probably the one you want to look at. And then finally, Zaya, you know, don't try to shill that garbage coin over here, okay? Even though I appreciate the super chat, don't try to shill that garbage coin. It does no one good. No one good. All right. What else is there? Well, Altcoin Daily also tweeted this. The number of transactions, okay? I'm sorry. Number of transactional volume, okay? Not just transactions, but the volume has exploded every single quarter, including Q2 of 2021. And this is when things started coming down. And you can see basically every quarter just keeps going up and up and up and up and up, and it's just skyrocketing. Again, this is due to the explosive growth of DeFi and also NFTs. But again, another metric that shows you that, hey, people are actually doing a lot of transactions. People are actually using Ethereum a lot more than I think a lot of people give it credit for. So this is also very positive. And lastly, I want to talk about this. I think a lot of people miss this, but there is like a new NFT platform that is already getting 532 million in funding by SoftBank, one of the biggest investment firms out there. So they're already raising this much, and what is it? They're being valued at $3.8 billion. Okay, so this is a France-based fantasy soccer game and non-fungible token NFT trading platform, and this is like the biggest so far. I mean, this is crazy. But the important thing is, this is Ethereum based. Again, right? Anything that is big with DeFi and NFTs, they all reside on Ethereum. This is why Ethereum is so important, why so many people think that it can flip Bitcoin in the future, right? These are the reasons why. So these are the 4 metrics I want to show you guys, because Ethereum, despite the fact I know price has come down, you know, more than 50%, but year to year, it's still up a staggering 700%. So let's not forget that. Ethereum is having a really, really good year, and I think it's going to continue to do well because of all of these things that I'm showing you guys, right? There's a lot of good metrics that show you Ethereum is very, very healthy, and this is all, keep in mind, while Ethereum is congested. It can't scale to where some of these other coins, it can't scale up to those levels yet. Like it can't scale to 50,000 transactions like Solana, right? It can only do 15 transactions per second. But despite that, all the metrics are exploding upwards. Imagine once it is done and Ethereum 2 comes out, right? How much better or how much bigger it can grow. So it's really good. Looking really good right now for Ethereum. Okay. So I just want to lead with that. That's the big thing I want to talk about. Let me see what else I missed here. Zaya, I don't know if you're trolling or you're being serious or you're really... I can't tell anymore, but you're giving me some big super chats, so I appreciate it. Nick says, let's say the USD isn't the world's reserve currency anymore. What happens to stablecoins like USDC, or inflation hits hard? What happens to stablecoins? Well, stablecoins are supposed to be back to USD. So if USD does inflate, technically stablecoins will too. And I actually have a good article about that. So in addition to these ETH metrics, there are a few other things I want to talk about. 2 has to do with, actually 3 has to do with the US government, and 2 has to do with Janet Yellen. Number 1, recently the CPI report came out and it was not good. You know, inflation is, oops, I didn't move my camera back. Inflation is blowing up like crazy, 5.4%, which is highest gain in like a decade, and everything is exploding up right now. And Janet Yellen just told CNBC today that she expects the U.S. economy to see several more months of rapid inflation. Not just inflation, rapid inflation. That's almost saying like hyperinflation, okay? Several more months. What does that mean? Does that mean another month, 2 months, 6 months, next year? I mean, this is a real thing. It's starting to tally up, right? So a lot of economists, a lot of businessmen, a lot of wealthy individuals, they're trying to prepare for this, right? What is inflation going to do to our bank accounts, to money, to the USD, right? Is it going to cause everything to skyrocket more than it already has going forward? And many people feel like it is. That's why people are buying hard assets or assets in general. So many people are buying these assets, and the more and more people that buy them is causing more and more inflation because the price goes up, right? So that's the thing. People are realizing that all this printing, which has not stopped, because that relates to my second article. I didn't even know about it until today. All this printing, all this money giving out to try to stimulus, the economy and businesses and so forth, it's having a real impact, and everything is inflating right in front of our eyes. CPI says 5%, but if you look at everything else, it's way more than 5%, 20, 30, 100%, thousands of percent, right? So this is something to pay attention to. We've been talking about inflation for some time, since last year to this year. Now we're actually really starting to see the numbers creep up. So will this help Bitcoin's case? Will people flock to Bitcoin as an asset to put money into to hedge against inflation? We've seen that year to year. Bitcoin is still up around 300%. People like to ignore that. People just like to think that it's just come down, but it's up 300%. So you could argue, yes, people have been putting money into Bitcoin as a hedge or trying to prepare for inflation. So is this a catalyst for more buying of Bitcoin? Very, very possible. Now, something else that relates to this, for those of you guys in the US, I didn't know. There's a tax credit. There's a new child tax credit relief program. So every child, if you qualify, you get $250 per child. So depending on how many children, and then you're going to get it every month for the next year. I had no clue. So you could check your bank account and you could see an extra $250 or $500. And this is going to continue to the end of the year every single month. And it's supposed to go for one full year. But President Biden is trying to extend this all the way to 2025. So 4 years of getting $250 every single month per child. And if you have 2 child, 3 children, 4 children, it's a lot of money. Again, my point about endless printing, there's more of it. There's just, I had no clue about this. I knew about the 3 stimulus packages before. Here's another one that's just being tacked on out of nowhere. So again, inflation, it's going to get worse. The U.S. government does not have this money. It's all debt. It's all just being printed out. And I don't know what's going to happen. But again, this is going to contribute to it. And, something else that may contribute to it is this. So Los Angeles County reinstates indoor mask mandate as Delta virus spreads. So we know that most of the U.S., now in other countries, still there's a lot of quarantine, lockdown restrictions, mask wearing. But in the U.S., for the most part, most states have declared that if you have been vaccinated, you don't need to wear your mask anymore. But because this new Delta variant has been spreading very, very quickly, so now you have a giant county that is reinstating an indoor mask mandate. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that we don't see this escalate again. Okay? If we somehow, as a country, as a world, if Delta explodes and somehow we have to go back to, lockdown and quarantine and closures and stuff, wow, that's just go be horrible, horrible for everyone all around. And how it relates to inflation is the governments around the world have to print more and more and more money to support all the closures, right? So hopefully this does not happen. But the one thing that I've said that I think could be like something that stalls Bitcoin's movement within this bull cycle is a broader stock market crash, which many people are anticipating. Many people are anticipating that by the end of this year, sometime in August, September, October, that we will see a massive correction to the S&P 500, Dow, and NASDAQ. Okay, and if that happens, that's going to be worldwide. Okay, and if that happens, I think crypto will be pulled down, just like March of 2020. So that's the only thing, the hiccup that can pull Bitcoin down from its current path within this bull cycle. Now, back in 2020, we did have a huge recovery because the government around the world decided to print a whole lot of money in stimulus and stimulus packages and so forth, and try to, prop things up. And at least in terms of the stock market, it worked because the stock market had that V-shaped recovery and kept going and formed a new high in a recession time, which makes no sense. But Bitcoin did that V-shape too and came up and went up to $60,000, as you guys know, right? So we could see something like that again. However, with inflation already going sky high, is that viable option? I guess so. But that's just going to increase inflation even more, right? So there's just a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things going on. And we have to pay attention to this. This is a bigger picture kind of thing, right? Inflation, obviously the on-chain metrics, great, right? They give you a lot of data besides TA in terms of what's going on behind the scenes. But I think it's important to pay attention to the bigger picture. And right now, inflation is definitely a real thing. People are worried about it. And I do think it's going to help all assets that people want to basically buy and hold, because that's the only way you protect your money. You protect your buying power, right? And now you have other scares like this Delta virus. Is it going to cause more shutdowns? Is it going to cause more printing? Quite possibly, right? So I guess leading to what I was saying at the beginning, with all this information, right? So you really have to decide how to move forward, how to protect yourself, right? Do you take all this information and say, you know what? I'm done with crypto. I'm just going to have everything in cash. I'll just take my losses. That's an option, right? But you have other options too. You can continue to hodl, right? If it goes down, there's more volatility, well, if you hodl, there's always a chance it could come back up. And in the past, if you look at past 12 years, it has always done so, at least with Bitcoin and several other altcoins, right? And also the third thing you could do is to just build up cash. Get a stockpile of cash. Do what you have to do, hustle, get a side job, do whatever, right? Maybe sell off some of your winners, and some of you guys still have winners, and hold that on the side in case we do see something. If we do see like this, like a broader market crash, right? That'll give you like a golden opportunity to buy, right? So that's the third option. Really, that's it. There's really nothing else, right? So at the beginning, I said, what's the point of declaring a downtrend or a bear market or whatever? It serves no purpose. The thing you have to decide is what to do right now. What to do with their information, right? Are you just go sit there and pout and try to be a troll on my stream? Is that going to solve anything? No, no. So you have to decide how to move forward, right? So hopefully that help you guys, right? All right, said a lot. Let's do some Q&A. Layer 2 says a job will interfere me with my George viewing schedule. Well, I'll be sad if I don't see you in the live chat, but I'll understand. All right. Waterfly. I don't pay attention to a lot of non-crypto stuff. I'll admit that. I don't look at a lot of non-crypto news, but you know, every so often I do. John says child tax credit is done at the end of the year. At tax time, this is an advancement on credit people claim on taxes. Okay. Although that article said that it was going for like 1 year. So, okay. So for those of you guys that qualify, you'll be getting a whole lot of money every month. Do you think August 4th will be a big day for BTC and ETH? August 4th. What's August 4th? Oh, by the way, that reminds me. Starting from tomorrow, the 16th, 17th, 18th is the grayscale unlocking. Okay, the 18th being the biggest day, but tomorrow it starts pretty significantly. I think it started already, but if you look at it, I don't have the chart with me. But 16 is pretty significant, 17 is pretty significant, and 18 is pretty significant. So we'll see what that does, right? I think it's a non-event because basically it's GBDC shares that's being sold, not BTC. So I think it's going to be a non-event, but I just want to point that out because that's going to start soon. All right, what else is there? Loretta says, I live in Indonesia and we're experiencing the peak of Delta and it's worse than 2021. You mean worse than 2020? See, that's what I'm afraid of, right? Especially right now in the summer, people are just getting out of quarantine and lockdown and so forth. No one wants to go back, right? So we'll see. Big win for XRP holders today. I didn't see anything about XRP. Unless they win the lawsuit. I mean, all these little wins here and there, it's not really doing anything. They just need to settle. Ultimately, what they need to do, they need to settle. That's it. And once they do, and they get a slap in the wrist fine, like all previous projects, then they'll continue forward, right? But right now, it's got to wait until the whole thing's done. Dope photography. I appreciate you putting up with me with all my messages. You're a good guy. Always information, good character. Well, I appreciate that. I really do. Try to call it like it is and just be more real about it, Oh, by the way, I forgot about this. Someone asked me about stablecoins before. Fed Powell says he wants appropriate regulatory framework for stablecoins. So he's not negative about it, but he does think that stablecoins, they act a lot like money markets, and if so, people need to be protected. And I actually don't think this is a bad thing, right? Especially with a lot of this FUD around Tether, whether or not these corporate bonds and the auditing could be trusted, right? I think framework could be a good thing. I think USDC right now has done everything well. It's gaining dominance. Hopefully it could just, remove all this liquidity from USDT. But still, I think appropriate, keyword appropriate, regulatory framework could be good. Could be good for stablecoins. Just want to bring that up. What else there? Is BTC a good hedge against inflation in the long run? That's the thing. If you look at the past 12 years, yes, it's fantastic because Bitcoin is up like 12 million %. Okay, so in the long run, 12 years, yes. But short term, during certain periods, shorter time frames, it's hard. It's hard to tell because Bitcoin is volatile, goes up and down. But long run, 12 years, it's up 12 million %. So of course, it's good against inflation. All right, scrolling down here. I'm really out of it. Hey, Jordan. Trolls at all-time high, bullish. What? Okay. I don't really get it. There's usually at all time highs, there's no trolls. But there's a lot of trolls when things are dicey or things are not so pleasant short term. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of them. Or there are a lot of them. Scrolling down. I'm looking at some of these messages here. Someone asked me on Mithril. That's like an old like social media one. I don't know if that one could survive. I think the founder actually moved to some other project already. Caesar, regret and forget it, or regret it for the rest of your life. Would you ever consider interview Robert Kiyosaki? Yes, I would. I think he's a good financial person. Obviously, his book has done very, 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 very well. The best financial book ever in history. But he has some interesting perspectives, and I don't want to really mention it because it just causes a whole lot of like political tension and stuff. But yes, I would love to interview him or have him bring me onto the show because he has brought other crypto people on his show before. I would be up for either. Micah, thank you for that. What happens to my ETH when ETH 2.0 comes out? Do I have to convert it? Yeah, there'll be some kind of process. Don't worry about it. It'll be seamless. Parse seems very undervalued. Could be $2 billion in a few years. I don't know about that. Parse is just a really easy way to create bots, basically, and fetch data. It could be $2 billion in a few years. I don't know if it's extremely valued, though. Has anyone ever told you when you say, we're going to get through this, like old school bastard from the South? It could just be, it could be my bad grammar, that's all. Can you talk about the Cuban situation? No, I can't, Lionel. I don't know what's going on, and I don't want to get too political, but I honestly don't know what's going on in Cuba. I got tired of waiting for Ethereum to do something, so I put all my money into some coin I'm not going to mention. It's your money. You do what you want with it. You do what you want with it. If you want to get wrecked, go ahead. Aztec Fitness, Georgia, I don't understand why are guys worried if things keep going down. If you're sub to the channel, you understand how incredible blockchain tech is. So long term, it's a win. Because not everyone, a lot of people pretend like they understand, or they pretend they care, but they really don't. What they care about is making more money and making more money fast. They don't want to ride things out. You know, like 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 months is already too long, right? So a lot of people are getting antsy, and I know that. But like I said, if you're focusing on the future, you're investing for a future, and it's a very bright future in my opinion, then 2 months is really nothing. I've sat through a few cycles, but even if you subtract all that out, just going back a year, look at the gains from just 1 year, right? I mean, these are undeniable and astronomical and life-changing gains just in 1 year. And that's with our down. At peak, this is double or triple of this, right? So, DCA holding, having patience works. When it comes to investing, it's always about patience. People that make the most money are the people that have the most patience. That's really it. Trying to jump into some meme coin or trying to use leverage, trying to make money really quickly doesn't work. It doesn't work. Cal Superstream, by the way, Jordan's a funny guy. And Jordan is a good guy. I like Jordan. Although I was really upset when I invited him on, and then he's like, no, because he had to work a second shift at McDonald's. So I understand, but it broke my heart. All right. Last few questions. Love your late night chat. Love you, brother. Thank you, Edmund, for staying with me and supporting me. Appreciate that. You know what? Maybe I should you know, maybe I should start streaming about AMC and GME. That seems to be the hot thing, right? Maybe I'll start incorporating my morning streams and incorporate some AMC and GME action, because that's what retail people want to see. They want to see some quick gains and up and downs. All right, guys. That is pretty much it. Overall, some really good Ethereum metrics, right? Despite the volatility, despite Ethereum being down more than 50% from its highs, but some of these metrics are still looking pretty darn good, which shows there's a lot of people that's not giving up on Ethereum and continues to use it, and it can continue to do well in the future. And besides that, you know, a lot of inflation fears, and it's just gonna get worse. I don't like the fact that Yellen said rapid inflation, not just inflation, rapid inflation. Even if it's 5% every single month, 5% on top of 5% on top of 5% on top of 5%, right? That's not 20%. It's compounding, and that's just with CPI. CPI is just measuring like basic stuff. It's not even measuring anything that's a true asset. You know, assets are just going to keep exploding, right? So will this help Bitcoin? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. This is why so many people are buying it. All right, guys. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. And if you're a car buff, you like cars, or you don't like cars, but you like watching me, or you are interested in buying a new car, check out my other channel, Drivers Only. All right? All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.